I want to use some Chinese examples to talk about what censorship can do to a culture and to your mental state. A lot of Americans are way too chill about the incoming dictatorship. They're like, look at China. They have a closed internet, but people are still happy. Like, how do you know they're happy? Are you mind readers? Sometimes we don't even know if our family members are happy, right? How can you just watch a few street view videos and conclude that people living inside the Great Firewall are happy? I don't know where to find convincing data on happiness, but I want to show you guys this. So this music YouTuber found that among the top 10 most streamed C-pop songs in 2024, 7 were at least 10 years old, and some of them were almost 20 years old, which means pop music there is dying. But there's another fun fact that the YouTuber didn't mention, probably because she didn't want to sound political. So none of those 7 older songs that are still popular were from mainland China. None. I checked. They're all from either Hong Kong or Taiwan or Singapore or even Chinese Americans. None from the hardcore part of China that's within the internet firewall. In other words, the mainland C-pop was never good in the first place. But even the musicians in other Chinese-speaking areas also lost their spirit over time because they surrendered to China's market entry rules and eventually became dull and boring. That's why everyone is listening to old songs. I tried some newer Chinese pop music. Oh my god. That YouTuber offered some explanations, mostly in terms of business models, like how the companies milk the fans through merches instead of working on music, etc. But I think the reason she avoided talking about political factors is the same reason those new songs are so bad. It's the fear of the big brother. Both the musicians and the music YouTubers can't say what they want to say. There's so many topics that China's entertainment industry is simply not allowed to touch. Contemporary politics, of course, but not just that. Religions? No. LGBT? Hard no. Oh, by the way, China just banned 2 major gay dating apps. People just want to hang out. They weren't trying to overthrow the government. What's your problem? So how about straight sex? Well, you can only talk about it implicitly. Like this kind of lyrics, it's not gonna survive in China. Even family dramas have rules. You can hardly find a Chinese TV show where the children had to break away from their controlling parents. No, because parental authority is part of the sacred power hierarchy. Oh, and this is hilarious. There's this unwritten rule in China that movies and TV shows cannot have supernatural content unless it's about the ancient world. Okay, you're not allowed to make modern supernatural stories. Science fictions are okay, but not ghosts or demons. You can't put anything magical in the same universe as the Chinese Communist Party. If you do, you're implying there are things that the party can't govern. No, no, no. And even science fictions can't be too far in the future. You know why? Say, if you shoot a movie about 1,000 years in the future, so how would you describe the political structure? Is the CCP still going to be in power in the 30th century? Either way, it's awkward. If your answer is no, you are implying that the CCP will lose power at some point. That's like blasphemy. But if you keep the party, then you have to make the general party secretary have meetings with aliens. That's also awkward and not very respectful. Actually, I feel like the Republican Party is already sort of in that dilemma. Have you ever seen any conservative politicians or influencers talking about post-Trump plans? No, I've never seen any. Even suggesting that Trump will ever retire is like a taboo in the Republican world. You have to implicitly assume the guy is immortal, or you will be banished from MAGA politics. It's scary. I keep telling you those Chinese stories because a lot of Americans don't realize how much dictatorship can mess up their lives. Not just your material life, but your mental state. This video made my blood boil. So this young lady said her MAGA mom burned all her writings after finding out she was liberal. So she said she was an introvert and her whole world was in her writings. If you don't have a habit of writing, you may not understand how violent that punishment feels like. It's like scrubbing memory off your brain. A lot of comments advised her to use Google Docs or back up her writing somewhere. And that's certainly a wise strategy, but based on my experience from China, backing up doesn't always solve the problem. If one day censorship crushes down on you on a national level, not just from your parents, backing up your writings simply means banishing them into a hidden corner of the internet. I used to write a lot in Chinese, and fortunately no one burned them. But I never had a chance to find an audience because no Chinese platforms would let me post them. So aren't you worried that one day the US government will rule the country the way that mom rules her children? Maybe you're like, I don't write, I don't make videos, so I don't care about censorship. Do you watch videos though? Do you stream music? Do you watch Netflix or Apple TV? Imagine living in a world where there's no exciting content you can watch. Every movie is about Jesus or conservative values. I'm not fear-mongering because I grew up in a world just like that. Sometimes I wanted to teach my kids some Chinese, but I can't even find interesting Chinese content for them to watch. So I just gave up. There was a time my son knew more Japanese than Chinese because he watched some anime. What are you gonna do? All the Chinese TV scripts are just cringe because you have to sound positive. Last month, 3 top-tier video influencers in China got permanently banned. Their crime? Failure to spread positive energy. Yep, the suckers didn't say any forbidden content. They just failed to portray how good life is. That's it. Now you know why you are so envious about the lives on Red Note. It's because the enviable content is the only content allowed. Yes, a lot of Chinese made peace with the censorship and managed to not think about it. But that's not happiness. It's mentally twisted self-oppression. It's why people there try so hard to learn English and get out whenever they can. I know you still don't believe me because Red Note is so much easier to enjoy than my miserable ranting. But you'll see it pretty soon.